Welcome to Live in the Feast. I'm Jason Resnick, and for the past decade, I've been helping businesses translate their goals into online success as a freelance web developer. In order for me to accomplish my why as a freelancer, I needed to live in the feast. Now I'm turning the tables around so you, as the freelancer, can do the same and build a sustainable business to achieve success so that you can ultimately live the kind of life you want. In today's episode, you'll learn about a guy named Fred and a bit about his everyday life. Also his hopes and dreams, his struggles, his successes, and the reason he became a freelancer in the first place. Now, if you're ready, I'm excited to be sharing with you Fred's story. This episode is sponsored by Feast. Feast is an online course and coaching platform built for freelancers like you who are looking to take their freelance business to the next level. Want to get higher quality clients, command higher prices, build recurring revenue so that you can stay out of the famine for good? Feast will help you focus and remain accountable through coaching calls, community, an exclusive mastermind group, and tons of resources. Join the VIP list now by going to res.com/feast and get first crack at some exclusive bonuses when the next enrollment opens. Let me tell you about this guy named Fred. He's 29 years old, living outside of the city in the suburbs. He has this amazing wife that supports what he does each and every single day. Now, they are starting to think about building their family and having their first child as well. See, Fred has been freelancing now for a couple of years. He's made some money, had some successful projects, but he's starting to wonder if he's missing something. He often feels that he's traded in a full-time job for a full-time job times 10. He's in this constant cycle of chasing down that next project. Even though he's landed some great clients and some of the projects that he works on he really loves, he often wonders when it is he'll find that freedom and flexibility that he hears folks talk about all the time. Fred gets up in the morning and he puts on some coffee. He then picks up his phone and starts looking through all of the emails, thinking about what his day is going to look like. He's really wishing that he could stop reacting to all these emails and client requests and start being more active in the business. Once his cup has finished brewing, he walks into his home office and shuts the door. He begins his day answering some of those emails, and then does a bit of client work until that first phone call of the day comes in. Around 4 p.m., his wife comes home, yet he's still in his office pounding away at the keyboard. See, he's made this conscious effort to try to wrap up his days before his wife comes home, but it's been about 3 weeks since he's been able to do that last. So he stops work when dinner is ready, and they enjoy a nice dinner together and talk about their day. Then around 11 p.m., his wife heads off to bed. So he heads back into the office to do some more work until around 2 or 3. Then he goes to bed. This is his normal workday routine. Once a month, Fred also does find himself putting in some weekend hours just to catch up on a project or two. He knows that he needs to work more on the business rather than in the business, but it's just him who will do this work that the client needs. See, Fred is also fairly well known in his space, and people are always raving about what a great job he does. His clients love him as well. However, Fred has this need to build the business in a better way and stop feeling this constant nagging about thinking that there's got to be a better way of doing this quote-unquote freelancing thing. He didn't leave his full-time gig because he wanted to work more. He left it so that he had the freedom and flexibility to live the kind of life that he wants, the kind of life to spend more time with his wife and future family. Now, Fred has contemplated at times that he'd be much better off just finding a job and going back to sitting at someone else's desk. At least then he knows that when he punches out, the work stops. But hey, that's not Fred. He enjoys the projects that he has, the clients that he has. He just wants to be able to have more freedom and flexibility. He hears other people having it, so he wants to know what he needs to do to get that same thing. Fred knows that if he went and worked for the man, that there would be no way he'd get to a point where he could be making enough money to have his wife have that option to choose to not work. Not to mention, he wouldn't have any choice on the types of projects or the people that he works with. So Fred continues on. He goes to the gym 3 times a week and listens to business podcasts while on the treadmill, hearing all of these things that he should be doing in his business and never gets to. See, he thinks to himself, I'm going to go home and put that in place right away. But by the time he does get home, he's got 3 more emails that he feels inclined to answer. Fred has been freelancing for a while and wonders what he's gotten himself into. He's not ready to give up on his dream just yet. It's just too important to him. So what's Fred to do? Let me ask you a question. Can you relate to Fred? Maybe you are Fred. Well, if so, this podcast, Live in the Feast, will help shine a light on yours and Fred's path. You know what you need to do. I'm going to try to help you do it and ultimately help you reach your goals and dreams. I know you didn't choose to be a freelancer because you wanted to work more. You chose because of something completely different. Family, travel, friends, whatever that ultimate goal of yours is, listening to Live in the Feast will help you take action on your business so that you can live that dream. I'm Jason, not Fred, husband to an amazing wife. We actually just had our first child a month ago. I'm a web developer by trade, and I've been freelancing for the better part of my career. Now, I started my full-time career prior to the dot-com explosion in the late 90s. And yes, I survived through it all. Now, I may be dating myself a bit here, but honestly, I enjoyed living through all of that because it was a time of growth, learning, failure, and I certainly wouldn't be where I'm at today without it. I actually struck out on my own freelancing for the first time back in 2003. I thought I knew what I was doing. I had been freelancing all on the side while working full time, so yeah, of course, I could run my own business. Wrong. I fell flat on my face, and by 2005, I was working full time again. I learned a ton about how to freelance and running a business. I kept my head up and kept pushing on until 2010 when I struck out on my own once again, and I haven't looked back since. Freelancing is tough. It's not for those that just want to not work full time for someone else, and because they have a skill, feel as though that they can have their own business. It just doesn't work that way. However, freelancing, when you realize that it's a business and not a hobby, as my friend Curtis McHale always says, you can live the kind of life you want. You can have that flexibility and that freedom to travel and be with your family and whatever it is that you dreamt of when you started freelancing in the first place. Look, I've hit walls, but I've also had successes. I've lived through them all and have built a successful freelance business that I'm able to support not just myself, but my family as well. Oh, and by the way, I live in New York City too. Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course he's able to do that. He's got so many opportunities in the city to get work. And while that may be true, I don't know. I've only had 2 clients during my entire freelance career that have been from New York, and neither of them are from the city. Since 2010, I've pivoted my freelance business twice, both of which were in directions that made my business more sustainable, more profitable, and allowed me to be able to live my dream. I have a steady income that affords me to live in New York City, travel, and live a comfortable life. I'm just a regular guy living a regular life. I enjoy spending time with my family and friends and being able to have the freedom to drop an afternoon of work from time to time to head off to do something fun. So I'm not going to talk about the quote unquote hustling of travel all over the world to conferences and events. I'm not going to talk to you about how you need to be working 15 hours a day. I'm not going to be telling you about all of these exotic vacations that I take every other month, mainly because I don't do any of those things. I'm just going to share with you what I know about freelancing, how to make it sustainable so that you aren't in that constant cycle of the feast or famine, and that you are able to get into the feast part and stay there. From time to time, I'll bring in folks who have been on the same journey as you are to share about their hurdles and their successes. I will also bring in folks that you may or may not have heard of before. Live in the Feast is going to be an actionable podcast. At the end of each episode, you will have some actionable takeaways. Some shows will be topical, while other shows I'll be bringing on a guest. It's not going to be a straight educational topic-based podcast or a straight interview podcast. Live in the Feast will be a seasonal podcast where each season will focus on a larger topic, whether that's getting clients, building processes, automation, client fulfillment, marketing, and so on. Then, the shows in each season will be released weekly. Some shows will talk about a specific topic that is within the broader topic. They will have tips and tricks for you to walk away with. Others will have guests who will also bring things to the table that they will want to give away. This podcast is about you, helping you in any way that I can, but it's more so about you helping yourself. I know that we are living in a time in history where each one of us can control our destiny like never before. I want to help you do just that because I know you can. When you subscribe to Live in the Feast, and each week when an episode pops up on your podcaster of choice, I want you to be able to walk away with at least one thing of value that you could put into your business right away. Because of this, each episode will be about 20 to 30 minutes long. That gives you another 30 minutes to be able to put that action item into place. Let's face it, there's at least 1 hour out of your everyday that you take for lunch or go for a walk or head to the gym, right? So when that show ends, I want you to say, nice, now there's another 30 minutes to be able to put what I just heard in place. I'm all about processes, systems, and optimizations, not wasting time. So I'm definitely not going to be wasting your time. If you give yourself an hour a day for lunch and you listen to the show during your lunch, I'd love for you to be able to take the back half of your lunch hour and work on your business. So you're not going to be taking any time away from your clients or your projects. But what you are going to be doing is putting 30 minutes once a week into your business. And I know that will have a huge impact on being able to accomplish your goals. If you are ready and you want to walk along this journey with Fred and get out of the famine for good, go ahead and subscribe to Live in the Feast right now. In fact, hey, that's your first takeaway. And it doesn't even take 30 minutes to do. So go ahead and hit subscribe and let's dig in. I want to thank you for taking the time and allowing me to be in your ears for a little bit today and in the coming weeks. I don't take it for granted. That's why I want to give you as much value as I can and help you take the actions you need to live that kind of life you want. You decided to become a freelancer. Don't lose the sight of the reason why. I'm here to help you and push you to realize that freedom and flexibility you want so you can live the kind of life that you deserve. So, in the next episode, we'll jump right into this journey and open the doors to season 1, titled Getting Clients. And the first episode is, where does your client come from? So, until next time, it's your time to live in the feast.